Hello everybody, Stephen here with Cardboard Coalition. And today I thought I'd bring you guys a video about the shelf of shame, right? What it is, how you acquire it, and how you conquer it, right? And today I actually have notes. One of these videos where I actually have notes, so I can try to look down, a little script, at least just notes for me to follow through to try to make this video quick. Because I know you guys like to join in and listen for a few minutes. And that's all on me. I got to get this production better. So let's jump right into it. All right. So the first thing is the definition of what a shelf of shame is. Sounds pretty obvious, but you will find as you get into this hobby, you will acquire games and not necessarily play them as soon as you acquire them, right? So this in the industry or in the hobby, right? This in the hobby is called the shelf of shame. These are games that have been bought and have not been played, right? So that's all a shelf of shame is. And as I was setting my notes together, I realized that SoS works really well. Sorry, my dog wants to play with their toy. But SOS, right? That help, stranded and need help, the SOS in the sand. This is a shelf of SOS, right? The shelf of shame. So the definition, as I said, is just a area, or I don't actually have all these games in one area. I had to pull them from all over the place, but games that just haven't been played. And usually when people are talking about shelves, they might be talking about shelves, but they might be talking about these calyxes behind here. This is technically not a calyx. It's from Target, but it's these cubed shelves to hold your games. And I found that, side topic, that the calyx or one similar, this is the Target knockoff of it, the 13 by 13 square will fit pretty much every box that I've come across, right? It will fit into those. That's why I like the bigger ones. So that's that side thing. So shelf of shame. So it'd be one of these calyx areas or a full shelf of shame or just scattered around your house. Now, how does one accumulate a SOS, a shelf of shame? Well, initial interest in a game. You might find a game and think it looks really interesting, so you pick it up. This, could be anything. A game that you really, really want to play. So down here we have Skulk Hollow. I really want to play with Resvon. I think she'll love it. I think I will love it. Really want to play it, but I want to play it with Resvon when she gets here, right? It's going to be a little hard for her to play it through the camera. We could try, but I think it'd be more enjoyable if she gets to sit down and play, right? Things like that, things that interest you. I've played Flux before. I know it's upside down. It's just kind of how the box is. And I saw Marvel. I thought I'd get it and haven't had a chance to play it, right? And in you might buy games expecting to have a game night with certain people or just your game night, and it's been pushed off, and then you forget about it. So it's that initial interest, like, hey, this game might work, so you pick it up, right? The next thing is the hotness, right? The new hotness, whatever the popular game is that everybody's talking about. You might see it on a shelf and pick it up because you feel like you don't want to miss out on this game. So you pick it up, but you might not play it, right? Another thing is kind of like the hotness, but it's the must-own, must-play game. There are a lot of games that people will tell you, especially people who have been in the hobby for a while, oh, you have to play this or you have to own this, or you hear people talk about it. It's kind of pompous, and I don't like pompous much, but a real gamer's played this, or what, you haven't played that game? I thought everybody who games plays that game. And you got your evergreens. These are games that are considered to they're considered to last forever. They're going to be around forever, like Monopoly and Sorry and stuff like that. In the more modern sense of it, you have things like Settlers of Catan, which I believe they just call Catan now, Carcassonne, the other one's blanking. They're out there, right? So you might feel like you have to go out and get those. So you do. But have you sat down and played them yet? Did they work right with your group, or do you have to find that right time to play them? So you just sit around. And then the last thing that I wrote down under this accumulating is sales. And that's really what pulls me in a lot. And it's a mixture of all this. And for you, it's going to be a mixture. More often than not, it's never just one factor. The reason you initially buy the game is going to be a mixture. So Back to the Future, sale. Let's just go through them. Sale. This was on sale, but not big sale. This was like $10, right? The pack. I already had Werewolf. This is a werewolf game. The pack, Back to the Future, I heard it was fun, but I couldn't remember which one. If you're quick-eyed, you'll notice I have two, one from Ravensburger and one from Funko, Back in Time and Dice Through Time, right? They were both on sale, both like 10 bucks. Maybe one of them was 15 bucks instead of the 39, so I swooped them up. This was cheap, but not, this was 10 bucks. I bought this for 10 bucks, and it might have been 8 bucks, right? Other things, Duet was on sale. This one wasn't. Avalon was on sale. This was a $10 game, and I still haven't played it. This was on sale for probably about 50% off, Richard the Lionheart. But some of them they're a mix, right? Funko, I heard that you had to play it. It's great. It's amazing. I got it. I went through the rules, and I realized that maybe I'm not going to be so much into it. Skirmish, and I do like Pops, but meh. So sales can get you. So it could be a mixture of those things that have you accumulate the shelf of shame. And like I said, I think everybody will get a shelf of shame eventually if you're in this hobby, maybe a smaller one or a bigger one, right? And you get this through initial interests, the greatest hotness, and you feel you need to pick it up, must own, must play games that you hear from other people, and then sales, right? There's a sale on it, so you pick it up, right? And also going back, I keep looking at this one. I bought this one because it was kind of gimmicky me. It's not on the list, but it keeps making me think about it. It's one of the reasons I put it right in front of me. The furry box, you're building bears up, you're building animals up, but a lot of them are bears to fight the babies off. It's a fun party game. It's got a fuzzy box, and they had it on sale too, right? So I ended up picking it up. So that's how you accumulate this shelf of shame, right? There's lots of different ways. So what do you do once you have that shelf of shame? Well, you got some options, right? And it depends on your personality and what you think you're going to do. One of the things, I didn't put it down here on my list, but I thought about when I was talking to you guys, is trying to play the game as soon as you got it. Get it as soon as you got it, right? As soon as you get it, right? And I do that a lot. I try to a lot. I try to wiggle them into the next game night, right? I try to make sure I play with Resvon early on, or if there's a single player mode, I try to sit down and play it. Don't always do it, but I do try. And there's been a couple I've been able to knock off the list for you guys for making the videos and stuff, how to play, and I'm like, oh, this game would be pretty cool to look at and how to play. And as I'm talking to you guys, I think I got another game over here, but you can lose an expansion. We'll talk about that here in a second, that I haven't played. But I'm thinking about making a how to play video, which means I got to learn how to play it. I need to play it a few times and then do the video. So with me, that's a special thing. You can set up videos that helps me get through some of this. So my shelf was a little thicker, but recently I've gotten through some of them. And this right here also doesn't count some expansions that I bought, right? Bought expansions for this. I mean, technically, it's a standalone kind of expansion. I've played some of Unmatched, but a lot of this is expansion. I haven't gotten into all the expansion. If you guys have heard Resvon and I talk, Resvon and I love Zombicide. I have no problem with it being Euro trash and easy dungeon crawl. We love it, and I have a lot of stuff for that, right? Tons of expansions. And I've gotten through a lot, but not all of it. So there's a lot of expansions sitting around. So this isn't expansion. I was trying to grab games that I just haven't even played yet. So the first thing is to try to play it when you first get it. Try to get into that first game night. I would argue sit down, try to read the rules right away. It'll be fresh in your head, and you'll think, I want to play this game before I forget the rules. But some of the other things, I guess this would actually go on the first thing that I put down here on my list, and that's actively work to play the games. So yeah, it would, right? Actively work to play the games. One, remember that you have the SoS, the shelf of shame. Remember that those games are there and they need to get played. So you can think in your head, will this be a good night for it? Oh, another one recently, because it's Halloween time, but I've played it now. And the reason I made the video was because Monster Mansion. I thought Halloween, this would be great. This would fit in to game night just because it's Halloween themed. And there was a little like, hey, do you want to play it? And one group's like, oh no, it seems really easy, right? But people have had fun playing it. But I made the video before that, right? To help push me in. And I know the video thing's kind of particular to certain viewers and stuff. So keep that in mind. Remember that you have that shelf of shame. I've been thinking about actually making an actual shelf and having an area where I have all the games that need to be played, and maybe somewhere high. I need a bigger calyx here. I'm thinking about the 5x5, but somewhere high, eye level, where I have to look at it all the time that gets me through them, right? So remember that you have the shelf of shame. And then be mindful, which I kind of already talked about, of when, where, and with whom you can play games. So think about what game would work in what situation, how many people are going to be there, what the level of gamers are. Are they novice and you want to play a more in-depth game, a heavier game, and heavier just means harder to understand, harder to play, as opposed to lighter. Think about those things. When's the next game night? Where's it going to be in the sense of how many people? Do I want to carry, if it's a big box, do I want to carry this big box there? Do I not? Do I want to wait till someone comes to my house? Which is what I like to do a lot of times with my Zombicide, or our Zombicide, because there's a whole bunch of it. I want to be people to choose a bunch of characters and blah, blah, blah. So where to play it, and then with whom, how many people, and what level are they at, and what's going to be fun, right? One of my close friends is into heavier Euro games. They like the heavier game. So I've been able to play things like Imperium Classics with him because he's into the heavier games. And it's a good 2-player game. You can play, I think, up to 4, but it's a good 2-player game. And he was willing to sit down and work through it with me. So thinking through who you can play with is a good idea, right? So that's one of the ways. Actively work to play your games. Remember that you have the games and try to see where you can fit them in. The next thing is sell your games. And it depends on who you are. As you can see, I have nothing in shrink wrap. Nothing tends to stay in shrink wrap for more than a day or two in this house because I want to open it up. As silly as it is, I want to organize the pieces. I want to make sure I put them in baggies and separate it and it's all nice in the box and ready to go to play. Do I read the rules right away? Lots of times no, but sometimes I do. Playing with the pieces, I start looking, what's this mean? Okay, I'm just going to set up the game to see how it goes. And once I do that, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to follow through the rules with the game out here so I can move it, right? But I don't have anything in shrink wrap. Some people do, right? I definitely see a lot of on Facebook and places like that where people are just selling their collection. They're culling the collection, which means just cutting it down. I mean, culling just means to shrink down to the best, basically. Get rid of all the not so good games. But you'll see a lot of their games are in shrink wrap, right? I don't. I open them all up. But the thing is, you can still sell the game. And why do you sell it? Couple reasons. You played it and you know you don't like it. You weren't very interested. It's up to you if you want to play it more than once. It was your money spent. You play it and you decide that you just weren't that interested. Or it sat forever. Initially it sounded really fun and you lost interest in it. You don't think you're going to play it, right? You're pretty sure you're not going to play it, right? Then sell it, right? Or you're pretty sure you're not going to play it and there's another game you'd like to have some money to put towards that game. Great reason to sell it, right? Sell the game. And then the last thing for how to conquer your SOS, your shelf of shame, is to give away your games, right? And there's multiple ways to do it, but a couple ways that I put down is to donate games, right? You can donate games to I want to say faculty centers, sorry, community centers. You can donate them to community centers. You can donate them to places like YMCAs or youth centers. I'm sure libraries are maybe, I wouldn't doubt libraries would be willing to take in some of these, things like that. Old folks' homes, they might enjoy playing some of the games too. You never know. But you can donate the games to a place, a cause, whatever it is. The next thing is to give the game away. This is all giving the game away, but give the game away to someone who seems really excited about it. And this is another thing that's me. I tend to, if someone is around me and they are super excited and genuinely excited about something I have, I will give it away. It's really interesting why I do it. And I'm sure there's other people who do this. But if someone comes over and they're like, oh my God, what's this game? I love gnomes. Oh my God, they're so cute. And they look at the art. And maybe I know how to play the game, and I kind of explain it to them like, what? You get to shoot catapults, gnomes up on the roof, and you get to torture gnomes to get information. This sounds hilarious. If they're super excited, I'll either offer to play it with them, and if they play it and they really like it, I'd give them the game. If they're that excited. I have people that come in more often than not. It has to do with comic books, or I have some pops, more pops than I should have. I stopped collecting. It's not an addiction of mine anymore. But people will come over and they'll get super excited or fixated on a comic book or something. They'll tell me about a comic book run that they like, and I'm like, oh, I have that run. I read it. It was all right for me, but you can have it, like, if they want it. So you can give games away to an excited person, and it's just because you're spreading. The same with donating. It's the same with all these. You're spreading kind of the game joy, right? And that's up to you. But you can always give away the games that way, and you can give them away as gifts. Now, I do have a game that I bought for White Elephant Secret Santa, that game that you play at Christmas time where you trade gifts around. You get to pick a gift and open it, and people can trade you and all this kind of stuff. There's that little game. There's multiple names for it. I did pick up one that was on sale for super, super cheap. I'm not going to say the game, but it fits in some friends of mine who usually do this. It fits in that price range they ask for it. Easily fits in, not even at the high range. And I am assuming people will like it. It's one of those evergreen games, right? And I'm not talking Monopoly and stuff like that. But you can give games away as gifts. I think even with them opened and played, you can give games away as gifts, right? You can say, oh man, I know you really like dice and you like Back to the Future and you like playing games. I thought this game you might like. I've played it once, wasn't my thing, but you might enjoy it, right? Sounds weird. Sounds like you're saying, oh my God, this tastes like poop. Taste it really quick. But you never know. Someone might be really into it, right? Really excited to have it. You can give it to them, right? And just go ahead and let them have it and say, you know what, I had it. I don't think I'm ever going to play it. It's the idea also of getting use out of it. So you can give your games away. So just a quick overview is your shelf of shame is just games that you haven't gotten around to playing yet. It will accumulate if you're in the hobby for any amount of time. I didn't think it would, but it's obviously, as you can see, has gotten me. How do you get those games, right? It's things that are interested. What's the hotness? You know, people are telling you what you should buy, must play kind of things. Sales is probably a big one for a lot of people. And how to get rid of it is, you know, work it in. Think about it. Actively play those games, right? Keep in mind that you have those games. Think about when, where, and with whom you can play those games. And then you could sell the games. There are also, I didn't put it down here, but I put reasons, but you've played it, you know you don't like it, you know you're not going to play it, you want to trade it off for another game. And there are sites, Board Game Co., which is a YouTube channel, and has, I still believe they do have the company too. It's a game exchange. BGG has a game exchange where you can trade or sell your games that way. So that's the other one. Actually, I didn't put it on here. You can trade your games off, right, to someone else who wants it for something else, right? I'm hoping I can get all the Black Plague and all of a Green Horde at some point by trading some games that I've decided after a while I don't like. Maybe not Shelf of Shame don't like. It's just games I had and I played and I'm through with it and someone's willing to trade. But anyways, so you can sell your games and then you can give them away, right? You can give them to people who are interested, donate them to local, I want to say charities, but just local places where you think they might play games, like rec centers and stuff like that. And then you can give them away as gifts, right? And so that was hopefully a quick video on what the Shelf of Shame is, that SOS, help me please. Ways that you're probably going to accumulate it and you can use that to avoid accumulating the Shelf of Shame, and ways that you can conquer that Shelf of Shame so it's not lurking over your shoulder, because this is all definitely money spent that hasn't been enjoyed, hasn't been used in a sense. It's been spent but not used, right? So that was the video. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. See you later, everybody.